So this is component 3 Mock 1 question 4, and we've got interesting pictures. So, study was carried out to investigate the changes to the digestive system of snakes when not fed. Burmese pythons are a species of snake that hide and wait for their prey to come close enough to catch and eat. Prey is ingested whole and can be up to 25% of the snake's body mass. That's amazing. Digestion takes them from 10 to 14 days, and they can go without food for up to a year. So over 4 weeks, group 1 are fed and group 2 are not fed. Group 1 fed, group 2 not fed. At the end of the study, they're killed and the structure of the ileum was examined using light and electron microscopy. The images show sections through villi. So what do I know about a villus? I'm gonna doodle in this space here. It's like that. Epithelial cells, so that'd be this bit out here. And then it's got, through the middle, it's got its lacteal like a finger, and then it's got a blood vessel. In that way, out that way. So, we've got width of the villus of group 1 snake, so how wide it is 140 micrometers. And the width of the villus there in group 2, the not fed snakes, 96 micrometers. Calculate percentage decrease in the width. So we need the difference in the width. And we're looking at a decrease. What is it decreased from? Well, this one's the wider one. (140) take away 96 equals, divided by 40, and comes out to 0.31. And then we need to times by 100, and 31.4. If you put 31.42, because I've got 0.3142, in fact if I could have just multiplied it by 100 before I did it, it would come out to 31.43 to 2 decimal places. 31.4. It's fine for a percentage. Okay, structure A absorbs glucose. What do I know about that? That's capillary. Structure B absorbs lipids. So that's the lacteal. Remember this diagram, following digestion. Oh, name these structures. So structure A, absorbing glucose, that's got to be a capillary. Structure B, lacteal. Notice you've got to get both of those for 1 mark. So these very sort of simple recall structure labels, it's always going to be 2 for 1, really. After 4 weeks, the following observations were made. So this is at the end of the study. Structure B was not present in the villi of the snakes from group 2, and structure A was always present. So both groups, fed or not, always had the capillaries, but not necessarily the lacteals. Explain why structure B was not needed in group 2, whereas structure A was essential for all snakes. So presumably this is kind of degenerated in some way because it's not being used. So why is it not being used? So group 2, we need to keep track. Group 2 are not being fed. Okay. So group 2 are not ingesting, use the proper terms, or digesting lipids. So lacteals not needed for absorption. Can't spell either. So why do they both have capillaries then? because presumably if they're not ingesting or digesting lipids, they're not ingesting or digesting glucose either, or any carbohydrate. But think about the capillaries are coming in and they're leaving, so they're bringing in oxygen and they're taking away, don't forget everything's got to respire, they're taking away carbon dioxide and the digestive products. So in both groups, capillaries are delivering oxygen to cells for respiration. I think that was a much harder mark to access, because you really have to think, oh, this is all about absorption, but hang on a minute, now they're asking about something else. So here we go, we've now got electrons. So remember in the beginning he said, oh yes, it's, the structure was examined, light and electron microscopy. So now we're looking at the structure of the surface of epithelial cells, and we've got the microvilli being shown. And you can see it's not, it's quite a contrasting image, isn't it? These ones, group 1, longer and thinner, group 2, shorter and fatter. So group 1, remember, are our fed group, and group 2 are our not fed group. And it definitely, while, when I was doing this, I was thinking, oh, actually, I need to keep track of what's what, because it just refers to group 1 and group 2 all the way through. And I need to keep track of which is which, otherwise I'm going to get in a muddle. So, describe and explain the differences. So, describing in group 1, and we're looking at differences, so we've got to use comparisons. So you can either say in group 1 they're long, and in group 2 they're short. In group 1 they're thin, in group 2 they're fat. But you could also use the comparatives. So in group 1, the microvilli are longer. You hear all my colleagues having fun in the background, giggling away. Are longer to increase surface area. And thinner to decrease diffusion distance. Why is that important? For absorption of products of digestion. As they, just check at the top, just glanced up, they are being fed. And obviously you could have said, well, group 2 have a shorter, less surface area and thicker and longer diffusion distance because they haven't got to absorb their nutrients. So now we've said, well, just look at the mark allocation, 3 things. Microvilli linked to surface area, so length linked to surface area, thin diffusion distance, 2 features, described and explained, and then why it would be that for the group 1. So, sticking with group 1 again, electron microscopy also showed that the epithelial cells from group 1 had the following differences compared with group 2. Large numbers versus few, cells arranged in a single layer, cells arranged in several layers. Explain. Say why that is. So, group 1 have many mitochondria, to release ATP for active transport. And a single layer of cells to reduce diffusion distance. All I can hear is cackling in the background for absorption. Just remember, these are the ones that are being fed. Okay, last one. Not feeding animals might be considered unethical and cruel. Certainly my dog would let you know if it was tummy time. Explain why not feeding these snakes for 4 weeks would not be considered an ethical issue. So why is that not cruel and unusual? Back to the start, what do they tell us about these snakes? Prey is ingested whole, weighs up to 25%, digestion takes from 10 to 14 days. They can go without food for up to a year. So, not feeding them, not an ethical issue. So, not feeding the snakes is not an ethical issue. As they can go without food for a year. Of course, the studies here, you could go on to say the study's only for 4 weeks. And then why there may be other ethical issues. So what have they done? So they've fed them, not fed them, that the feeding's irrelevant, we've just said that, they can go without for up to a year. At the end, snakes from each group were killed. That's definitely going to be an ethical issue then. An ethical issue is that the snakes are killed. Okay, super duper.